and I'm going to go ahead and get started. So thank you again. This is another ProLink Plus webinar. We've been hosting this. I've mentioned it if you've joined before. We've been hosting webinars for ProLink Plus, really highlighting our HAF solution model since early, I think probably April, about every 3 weeks or so since April. It's been a great opportunity for us to kind of keep tabs on our progress as we've developed this solution, as we've onboarded clients and have gone live with pilot programs. And so we're continuing this series to share that information out with both existing clients of ours. We have some existing implementations that we're working through and some attendees from those, as well as additional agencies who might still be considering options for their technology and service needs for their HAF. So without further ado, we are going to be talking about a couple of our existing clients, a couple of pilot programs that are live, including Arkansas Development Finance Authority, which we highlighted quite a bit in our last webinar, and then Tennessee Housing Development Agency. Today, for speakers, it's myself. I'm the Executive Vice President for ProLink. I've been with the company for about 13 years. And then Joe Collier is with me today. He's a principal business consultant with ProLink, has been with us for a couple years now, and is heavily involved in ProLink Plus implementation, specifically Tennessee. So he has great insights into all the details and considerations involved in these implementations. So he will be providing our live demo today.
Hello.
Okay. And then as far as agenda, I'm going to have a quick company overview, recognizing a number of folks on this call have attended our prior webinars. So that'll be fairly short and sweet. And then we'll go into our case study updates for Arkansas and Tennessee. And then I will cover somewhat of our delivery model, summarize that for those who might be new to that concept and new to ProLink. And then finally, I'll hand it over to Joe for that demo of ProLink Plus. So a little bit about ProLink, our history. We've been in the affordable housing industry for about 23 years now. So it is kind of, we live and breathe it. It's our main focus. It's our main business, our main relationships. So that is a really good place to be in supporting this additional program. We're in it for the long haul. Our clients cover kind of across affordable housing as an industry. We've worked a lot in multifamily tax credit. So we've supported local and state housing finance agencies with ProLink HFA. We work with syndicators and investors who are investors and syndicators of tax credits, as well as developers in that arena. So we have a large client base on that side. We started to get more involved in supporting emergency fund deployment with the HHF program, the hardest hit fund. And so what ProLink Plus is the foundation of that application that supported a few states for the HHF program. We saw the need coming, have enhanced and re-platformed the technology that we used for HHF to support HAF, and really built it in a way to support additional emergency fund deployment down the road. So it is a dynamic tool. It is fully built. It is ready to be implemented. There's nothing left to do other than responding to enhancements and any word from Treasury on things that we need to update. So and as far as our work goes, like how these systems are built, we really do try to support holistic technology tools. So everything from that application intake stage all the way through your audit and reporting and compliance needs, that is our goal, as well as connecting parties as much as we can. So all of the different roles and responsibilities, the different contributors to your program, we try to create a central place where everyone's effort can be visible and usable, and we're not overworking and over creating the same in redundancy for this program. So as much as we can keep things efficient across our teams, we try to do that through our tools. Finally, our team. So we are a technology company. We have a number of technologists who are very seasoned in the affordable housing industry at this point. We have some industry experts as well who have joined our team. Again, this is what we live and breathe. Our people are mission driven. I really believe that we all feel that we are supporting our clients in helping them support their homeowners and helping to improve the affordable housing concern that we face in the United States every day. So as far as our customers go, we have our ProLink Plus first customers that are both live on their pilots listed at the top. We have Arkansas and Tennessee on the HHF, kind of the original of ProLink Plus. We have a couple clients still supporting and wrapping up their HHF programs through that tool. You can see ProLink HFA clients listed, and then at the bottom are AIM and FHA clients. Okay, so getting into our case studies. If you were able to join us on our last webinar, we met with Roe Arrington from Arkansas Development Finance Authority, and he was gracious enough to give us his take on their pilot, kind of a lessons learned type of webinar, as well as just experience overall through the implementation process with ProLink and his other partners that he's working with to support their HAF program. So Arkansas has about $54 million available to directly support homeowners. That's outside of the administrative allocation that they have. And they have already assisted their first homeowners. They've deployed and approved funding since July 30th was their first approved homeowner through their pilot program that actually received funding. So that's really exciting. We went over a lot of lessons learned on the last webinar. We have the link, which Ryan can share, to that previous recording. Couple things that Roe was gracious enough to update us on, we just caught up with him a little bit ago this week, was, again, on the lessons learned side and things that we should all kind of keep in mind if you do plan on running a pilot. One, he said, is really to be considerate of kind of the size, there's a balance to be struck between having your pilot too open across your population, across your homeowner population, and then too closed down and not, I guess, curating enough interest and enough volume in that early pilot stage. So really considering what that right fit is for you and what you're ready for as far as volume goes, being able to kind of control and predict that as much as possible is important. So your pilot isn't too locked down or too open. And then the other thing is, with the outreach programs that are required and needed to share information about your HAF program, even during that pilot stage, really consider using known entities, known servicers to the homeowners as part of that outreach plan, so that when homeowners are contacted, they recognize the people who are contacting them. So this is an interesting case study with Arkansas because they use outside servicers. They don't service their own loans, and so they're working with those outside parties. And some homeowners may not even know Arkansas Development Finance Authority very well. They know their servicers. So something to consider as part of your outreach model is how to affiliate your program and the people reaching out on behalf of your program with your homeowners, so that there is that trust build that occurs in that early stage. So pretty nice lessons learned to share there. Now moving into Tennessee, this is the first time we've been able to really unveil and talk about Tennessee. I'm really excited about it. So they are the other live pilot program we're running right now. A little bit of the makeup of the state. They have $143 million available in HAF funding to be allocated directly to homeowners. So that's outside of the administrative kind of portion of their HAF allocation. Their total population is about 6.8 million, with homeowners making up about 1.7 million, homeownership rate 66%. So that is kind of the makeup of Tennessee. Some of the more tangible numbers and metrics that we pulled from their HAF program that they submitted to Treasury in defining the need of Tennessee are listed here. So they have about 9,500 loans that qualify for severely delinquent, so more than 90 days, and are below 100% AMI. So mortgage delinquency rate, and that's 30 days plus, is about 6.1%. And then forbearance rate by zip code, which is an interesting metric, it can be as high as 11.7% in some zip codes. So that may be an indicator of maybe future needs or future areas of demand once those forbearances are up. That might be areas where you kind of have those hot zones. And then finally, percentage of homeowners at or below 100% AMI is nearly 40% in Tennessee. So there's certainly a need for HAF within Tennessee. To describe the team involved in their pilot stage of their HAF program. So Tennessee does service their own loans. They have volunteer mortgage loan servicing. That's the servicer entity for Tennessee, which is great. They have kind of that control over that pilot population and that direct outreach established through that program, through servicing their own loans. In addition to that availability of their existing portfolio, they're obviously using ProLink Plus as their technology, which is implemented and configured and running their pilot as intended for their final program. And then we have underwriting and processing support by Amerinet and a call center support by NextRep. So Tennessee took a kind of wider approach to their pilot. It's more open, and so therefore we have that call center processing and underwriting availability and support through those partners as part of the ProLink Plus model. So we are acting, ProLink is the prime contractor, and we are supporting Tennessee with Amerinet and NextRep as service teams underneath our model. So that is the team. And then going over timeline quickly here is just kind of understanding the effort involved from our initial contract signing and our initial kind of kickoff to this stage. We started our discovery and process mapping in early July, so July 1st. And then we began software training about a month later. So we had a number of weeks of that process mapping and discovery and meeting with the different groups and team members, making sure all roles were defined, no gaps. And that was something Joe Collier was heavily involved with. And then moving into software training, that really started in early August and went until about the 16th. And then that pilot opened up and applications started to come in on the 16th. We moved into underwriting with those applications by the 18th, and they are hoping to allocate their first funding this week. It's really kind of at any point in time kind of thing. Another thing Tennessee is doing with their pilot is they do have a counselor component to their pilot where they are working with state counseling centers. And so there is some coordination and qualifying and getting some kind of training done with homeowners who are qualified before funding can be delivered. So that is another piece to the Tennessee pilot that they have in place, and I think plan to continue on with into their full program. And their full program, you can see, is represented by those yellow arrows. So they have their pilot making up about 6% of their allocation, 8.5 million, and then they're planning to allocate the rest, that 94% in the full program. They do plan to phase out their launches, which is something that certainly can be done. This is to include in that second phase some additional programs that they would like to make eligible for HAF. So that is one nice thing about the technology side of things that is something to highlight is, you might start with a little bit more of a closed program and kind of designate that priority for your agency, and then over time you may decide to open it up to additional programs, and that's certainly something that can be accommodated with the technology and tool set without losing any functionality or any previous data or previous applications. Okay, and then going over our delivery model. So this is a familiar slide to some. I call this the bird's eye view slide, really depicting ProLink Plus in the center of all the different parties and groups involved in administering your HAF program. So on the left-hand side, you can see our homeowner who is applying through that electronic application submission process, that homeowner portal for HAF funds. So we also have in place our team, our service team members, so call centers or any state counseling that might be involved in that initial application, initial screening process. We can certainly assist and consult in how that should be set up and help administer that. Those types of services help to ensure that we are covered for paper application needs, and additional help, any sort of call in to apply scenarios where a homeowner may not have access to a computer or a mobile device to go through the homeowner portal. But the homeowner portal is accessible on mobile devices, on tablets, and on computers. You can take pictures of documents or upload PDFs. So we try to make that process as seamless as possible for our homeowners, make it as easy as we can to get that information that we need and get them through the door. That's a tremendous and significant step. And once those applications come in, we have our processing and underwriting represented in the lower right-hand corner. So that would be, in Tennessee's case, Marinat supporting that pilot program. So that starts to kick off. And then finally, we have our payment processing queued and sent out to your payment processor, and then that, as well as the CDF kind of back and forth communication process with that servicer to finally make those payments on behalf of the homeowner. So that all happens through the agency back-end portal. Once those applications are submitted, it is made available in that agency back-end ProLink Plus portal. And then finally, you can see we have some representations of our reporting to our HFA or to the allocating agency, certainly to Treasury, and then we have a number of ad hoc reporting and dashboards available as well to take advantage of. Program manager, this may be the agency, this may be an outsourced program manager. ProLink can certainly help if you are looking to have an outsourced program manager, but that is the person who's kind of overseeing and coordinating and making sure that all of the different constituents involved in your HAF program are doing what they need to do and getting that money out the door as soon as possible to qualified homeowners. Okay, so and then quickly going over our delivery model, in addition to ProLink Plus technology, which Joe's going to get into in much detail, we have our program plan consulting that we offer at the top through one of our service team members. We have call center support that we can offer. We have a number of team members, different agencies for call center support, underwriting and processing as well, and then program management, including some additional kind of nuanced staffing needs. And finally, partners to support compliance verifications, quality control, file audits, and those kinds of things. Our goal in our delivery model is to offer a turnkey solution to our agencies. So that looks different for every agency, and we are happy to fill the gaps in any way that we can to support a successful program. And by no means are any of these required as part of our model, but they do help in filling the gaps. There is some gain in efficiency through having worked and supported other agencies now with pretty much all of, we're not at compliance verifications quite yet, but pretty much all of these different areas have been supporting the couple implementations that we have going, and we're about to get a third one really up and running, and I look forward to sharing more on that one as well. And then finally, differentiators. So like I mentioned on the previous slide, turnkey solution. We want to work with you to help fill those gaps and make sure that we support you in the way that really makes the best sense for the agency. Customer service, that's something that I hope we're still known for it, and I hear the most from our clients is our customer service model. You know, Joe is a good representation of that. He not only, that principal business consultant at ProLink, not only supports the initial implementation phase, but lives on with that customer through their lifespan with ProLink. Make sure that we are continuously meeting your business needs, checking in with you on a regular basis. We are not a kind of hands-free type of customer service model. We like to be partners with our clients, and it's really the way that we handle all of our products and all of our clients. Security is obviously important in the technology industry. We take it very seriously. So we are SOC compliant, and we are always looking for ways to improve and get ahead with our security across all of our platforms. And then customizations. We are not shy with customizations, and we have certainly had our fair share of them over the years. Again, we are a vendor dedicated to affordable housing and to this industry, so we understand the needs of different agencies, and we can certainly work with you to meet those. It's always great to establish best practices as much as we can as a group, but we certainly understand the need for additional configurations, integrations, and sometimes even customizations to the technology to make sure that we are supporting you well. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Joe, who can start kind of walking us through a live demonstration of our homeowner portal and then the agency backend portal as well.
All right, thank you, Bree. Let me just share my screen here. I will stop your sharing.
Yep, and I didn't mention before, but if you do have any questions, please post them in the chat. We do have a couple people behind the scenes who will be ready to answer any questions that you have.
All right, so Bree, can you see what I'm sharing here?
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right, well, thank you. Thank you everyone for your time today. As Bree mentioned, I am a principal business consultant here at ProLink. So I guess first off, that means that I am not really in sales necessarily, so giving software demos isn't my forte. I more work with our clients to make sure that we're meeting their needs and to make sure that our software solutions are helping them solve the affordable housing problem, and HAF certainly fits that bill. And as Bree mentioned, I've been working very heavily with the state of Tennessee to get their pilot program up and running. Again, we anticipate getting some money out the door pretty quick here, and we're going to roll over to the full go live, open the floodgates to everybody who wants to apply in Tennessee in just about a month here. So exciting things there. So now let's take a look at the application. So what I'm showing here, this is the landing page in our demo environment for the homeowner portal. This is where applicants will come to sign up and fill out their application and ultimately request benefits. A lot of things you see here will be somewhat generic. As part of the implementation, we'll work with you to make this site not only meet your program requirements and needs, but also kind of have a similar look and feel to your own agency website, so that if you are sending applicants here, it's not a kind of a drastic change from your own website. It'll kind of fit into your existing technology ecosystem. All right, so enough about that. One thing I'll point out before I get started here, we do have Google Translate embedded on every page in the homeowner portal, as well as in all of our help content, so that if your applicants are not comfortable reading in English, if they need a different language, they've got over 100 to choose from. We are also working with another client on providing custom translations that are not Google Translate. So if Google Translate is a concern of yours, just know that you are not the first, and we are working on a solution for that as well. So anyway, let's go ahead and create an account. I'll show you guys what it would look like for a user first coming here. So they will enter their email address. on this screen. And then they have the option to enroll in email alerts about their application. Basically, when there are status changes, when the application is proceeding along, there will be system-generated emails that will go out to this email address they enter. Pick a password. They do match. Now down here, phone information. So we also support multi-factor authentication for the homeowner portal. I'm going to go ahead and opt in here, provide my cell phone number. Please don't write this down. This is my actual cell phone. I've not figured out how to fake this piece of the demo. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and certify that I'm not a robot. Click verify registration. All right, and so what is happening now behind the scenes? I've basically created a profile. I've signed up with my email address and my phone number. And now we want to go ahead and make sure that I enter the right email address. So we'll send a verification code. Just drag that over really quickly. That is my personal email. So again, pay no attention to those awful numbers messages. Type that code in. Click verify. Wait just a minute here for the verification to happen on the back end. All right, and I am officially in. So the next screen that I am on is our, as you can see, program selection screen. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to provide a little bit of information on how I found out about the program. And the significance of this is that it may help you coordinate your outreach and marketing efforts. It may let you kind of let you know what's being successful, what's not being successful, so you can sort of refine your outreach to what people are saying is working. So we'll say I saw a TV advertisement, and then the next thing I have to pick is the program I'm going to apply to. So we do support multiple programs. In our demo environment, I've only got one program set up, that is Homeowner Assistance. However, when I select this, notice we've got a couple sub-programs set up here. So we do support multiple programs as well as multiple sub-programs under those programs. And here I can choose to apply for reinstatement benefits only. So I am behind on my mortgage and I just want to be caught up. Or I can also apply for reinstatement and ongoing payments. This is, to be honest, this is similar to what Tennessee is doing. So they are giving folks the option of getting caught up only or getting caught up and getting some forward assistance. So that's one way to use sub-programs. It could also just be useful for agency-specific reporting that you guys want to do. Again, carving your programs into these sub-programs. So I'm just going to say I want to be caught up. Go ahead and click continue to pre-qualification questions here. All right, and now I need to put in a little bit more information. So Joe September. And now I have to pick what county I live in. If you guys recognize these counties, more power to you. This is a list of counties in Alabama, I believe. This list of counties will be specific to your state when we set this up for you. But I'm going to go ahead and pick Marion County, and I'm going to say there are 6 people living at my primary residence. Go ahead and click continue on to the pre-qualification questions. I'm going to jump to the bottom here to question 8. Is your total annual household income from all sources less than $96,000? So the previous screen, I said I live in a particular county and there are 6 people in my house. So this $96,000 value, this is based on the Treasury eligibility guidelines, and it's comparing the county AMI to the national median income. And whichever one of those is higher, you know, whichever threshold is the most beneficial for me, we can ask that in your pre-qualification questions. So if there are applicants that have too much income to be approved under this program, we can figure that out right away based on their specific situation. All right, so let's hop back up to the rest of the pre-qualification questions. I'm just going to kind of breeze through these, but one note about these questions, they are completely configurable through our agency portal, and they are also kind of snapshotted at a point in time. So I'm applying today, and these are the set of pre-qual questions that exist today. Treasury has kind of notoriously sat on their hands this summer and has been kind of slow to release some guidance. So they may come out with new requirements, you know, as we get into kind of the colder months here. And some of those requirements may impact some of these pre-qualification questions that we want to ask applicants. So we have the ability to change these on the fly. Everybody that sort of went through the process before that change was made, they're already in. They're already grandfathered in. They've already answered the set of questions that were present at the time they applied. Everybody going forward will get that new set of questions. So just, I guess, just want to point out how we can sort of evolve with changing Treasury guidance, and it could also be your own agency-specific requirements, policies, guidance, things like that. So we'll say I'm unemployed. Say I am in state. I do not own any other residential real estate, unfortunately. I do escrow my taxes. My home is single family. It's not in a cooperative. We are not in bankruptcy and do make less than $96,000. And finally, I certify that these answers are true and accurate to the best of my knowledge. So then I'll click check eligibility here. All right, and good news, I have passed the pre-qualification questions. If I did not pass those questions, I would have been stopped right there. There's a screen that we show that is basically, you know, unfortunately, you are not pre-qualified. You can contact us if you'd like to review your questions. Here are some alternative sources for benefits. That is a completely configurable screen. We'll work with you through implementation to set that up. But it is sort of a soft landing for applicants that may not be qualified. All right, so I've landed on the dashboard here. Notice I've got a couple of tiles here. My application, I've got my application number, got a submission date. I've already been automatically assigned an intake clerk. This is a person that, in Tennessee's case, we've got processors that we're assigning as intake clerks. So as soon as my application is kind of active, you know, in other words, as soon as I am somewhat in the door, there's an intake clerk that can be looking at my application, making sure I'm filling everything out, providing required documents, things like that. As the application keeps moving, there are additional sort of roles that our system can automatically assign, including counselors, underwriters, closers, things like that, because there are going to be a lot of hands that have to touch this application from start to finish. All right, so now let's actually fill out some information. So I will click on personal information here. This is where we're going to collect, you know, as the screen says, my personal information. So I'll go ahead and put in social security number here. Enter my date of birth. We'll say I can indicate if I'm a veteran or not, select my marital status. The significance of this is that depending on my marital status and if there is a co-borrower down here, we'll also collect information on your spouse and or your co-borrower. To make things simple, I'm going to say I am single and there's no co-borrower, so it's only my information I have to provide. I can also select my preferred language. Right now in the demo environment, we're offering English and Spanish. We can offer more selections here as well so that your agency knows the language to use if you need to reach out to a particular applicant. English. Primary phone number. That in, say it's a home phone, and we'll say you can call anytime since I am unemployed in this scenario. Now I'll go ahead and enter my property address here. And we'll say it is in Denver, Alabama, which I don't believe is a real city, but we are here in Denver, Colorado, so reminds me of home. My zip code, 6 people living at this address as I entered earlier, and it is me and 5 dependents. I've got a tough life here. Now for the mailing address, I can click it's the same as my property address. If it was different, if I got my mail at a PO box or something, I could specify that. All right, then scrolling on down, socially disadvantaged. So this is a big piece of the HAF program, identifying applicants who are socially disadvantaged. Right now, the text we have here is the actual definition, the legal definition of socially disadvantaged. If you want to ask this question in a different way, or if you don't want to ask this question at all, because you think it might kind of turn applicants off from the process, saying, well, I don't think I'm socially disadvantaged, right? I'm not messing around with this. We can do that as well. High degree of configurability is built into our application. But for now, I'm just going to say, yes, I am socially disadvantaged. And then moving down, we collect some demographic information. So difficult. I'm going to say I don't wish to answer my ethnicity. Say white, male, and then hardship information down here. So this is the actual statement of hardship, where your applicants can attest, or not attest, but state what their hardship is, right? What did COVID-19 sort of do in your life that caused you to go through hardship that made you need benefits? So this is where your applicants will go ahead and select what happened, and then they can actually write in their own words what their hardship was. So I'll say I had job loss related to pandemic. And then I'll go ahead and say I worked at a restaurant and it closed down due to COVID. All right, so now I will go ahead and click continue on to employment. So notice I've filled out my personal information. Now I've got a green check mark there indicating that this section is complete. Employment information here, we collect unemployment benefits information if necessary. So I can provide, if I am receiving unemployment benefits, I can provide details about those, what my monthly benefit amount is. We use this to calculate income. If I have a projected end date. Something else we can do as a part of the implementation process is, and we are in fact doing this for Tennessee, so we can work on an integration with your state's Department of Labor in case you want to get those unemployment details directly from the source rather than having the applicant provide whatever documentation they have. So again, lots of flexibility there. Just something interesting we're doing on unemployment benefits. Then I can also specify my current employment information. If I am employed, we ask for employer information. I'll say I am not employed. Go ahead and continue to property. All right, and notice now that I'm done with that employment section, I've got a green check mark there. All right, so I'm going to start picking up the pace a little bit because we've got about 20 minutes left. Something else I want to show on property here. So as a part of the HAF program, not only can we provide benefits for mortgages, right, being past due on mortgage payments and offering assistance going forward, but we can also cover eligible property-related expenses. So on this property screen, we'll get some high-level property information, but if there are say HOA dues that I'm also having trouble paying, and we want to allow those types of benefits, we can have applicants specify what those are here as well. So I can say, you know, I'm behind on my HOA payments to this HOA. I can provide their phone number. I can enter my account number, just make something up. They are due, we'll say on the 15th. Say they're $50 a month, and I am a whole year past due, $600, and I send the payment on my own. So I'm going to click continue to mortgage. Notice I've moved to the next section. I didn't fill out all the information in the property tab, so I don't have that green check mark yet. On this mortgage tab, I can add up to 4 different mortgages on my property. I can pick from a predefined list of servicers. Ideally, these are servicers that your state has a relationship with already. In other words, you have gotten that agreement to go ahead and send HAF program benefits to them. And you set this list up through the agency portal. Applicants can pick from that. If they are not on this list, they'll have the option to say other and provide that information. But again, we want to standardize this as much as we can to make sure that, you know, ultimately when it's time to pay benefits, we've got the right information and everything streamlined, right? We don't want 7 chase mortgages in the system. We want 1. And that is something that your agency does control. So I can enter, again, all those mortgage details. I can indicate if I'm in foreclosure or forbearance. You might want to use this information to target specific applicants. You know, if someone is in foreclosure, you may want to bump them up to the top of the list and work on their applications first. This is where they'll indicate that. Moving on, we've got a financial information tab. This is where your applicants will enter income and expense information for underwriting purposes. We can enter quite a few different income sources, quite a few different expenses. Notice those HOA dues that I entered as a property expense already show up here. I can add, again, quite a few others as well. If I had a spouse or a co-borrower, I could enter income and expense information for them as well. I'll move on to our review and submit screen. This is where I can take a glimpse at all the information I've entered in my application, make sure I've got everything right, make sure everything's complete. Notice I've got a few missing things here. So this is kind of a quick and easy way for your applicants to make sure they're providing a complete application. And if I click on any of these that I've already provided, I can review the information I've already entered. Scrolling on down here, we do have a hardship affidavit that we want applicants, to e-sign. So we have integrated with DocuSign to get that signed hardship affidavit from all the different applicants. That could be, again, applicant, spouse, co-borrower. Once I click send for signatures, DocuSign will automatically send a link to the email address for this person here. They'll be able to go in and e-sign, complete the document, the status will be updated, and I'll be able to submit my application. Last thing I will show you is supporting files here. This is where your applicants will upload all the required documentation that you want to see. So whatever documents you require, that is completely configurable. In this case, we're looking for a mortgage statement, bankruptcy documentation, if applicable, some income documentation. These items that are hyperlinks, we can actually provide documents to applicants through the screen. So the 4506T, that's a tax transcript request. You can provide the template for that so your applicants don't have to hunt that down. If I click here, go ahead and download this, I can fill it out. When I do upload files here, I will get a check mark here indicating that I have uploaded the required files and I've met that requirement. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and log out of this one really quickly. I want to show you guys one more interesting view of the homeowner portal before I hop into the agency portal. So as I move along in the process as a homeowner, I want some visibility into what's going on. So I have now logged in as I want to say Martha Albertson is the demo applicant, but either way, this is someone that is much farther along in stage 6 of 8 in our program. Stages are sort of predefined gates that we have each application proceed through as it, first comes in, then we decision it, then we pay it, then there might be a monitoring requirement after the fact. Ultimately, it's closed. Each of those represents a different stage. This application happens to be in the disbursement stage, so we've got some money going out the door. As I scroll down here, notice we have a listing of all the different payments that have been set up for this applicant, who the payment is going to, what that payment due date is in the system, what that amount is, and that payment status. And it looks like we have made one payment in the amount of $2,850 to Chase Mortgage. So as an applicant, I can come in here and I can see those payments go out the door. I can see what's been set up, and again, I'll see that status update. All right, so that is the agency portal. Now I'm going to, that's the homeowner portal. Now I'm going to go ahead and hop into the agency portal here for the last 10 minutes or so, and show you guys what it looks like from the administrative side of things. So here, again, is the agency portal. I've landed on the screen that we call My Queue. And My Queue is basically a listing of all applications in the system. They are separated by stage. So again, we've got 8 different stages applications we'll pass through. I'm just collapsing these to show you guys what's going on here. Notice also that I am logged in as kind of a super user here, so I can see every single application that's come in. Let's say I was a counselor and I was only working on a handful of applications. Well, I would not want that counselor to be able to see everything in the system, right? I mean, you assume people aren't going to do any harm, but you never know. You want to, avoid that risk as much as you can. So this is what a counselor would see when they log in. So notice view queue items for this Joe Counselor agency person. He can only see these particular applications that are assigned to him. And he would not have the ability to see any other applications in the system. So we do have the ability to kind of lock things down and secure visibility into applications per your agency security and program requirements. I'm going to go ahead and go back out to all applications here. The other thing I'll point out is that this is the application that I just filled out through the homeowner portal. Notice it is showing up here, Joe September, and it's got, it is pre-qualified. I can see that I passed those questions. I can see what program category I chose to apply to. All right, I'm going to go into an application here really quickly. I'm going to pick one in the underwriting stage. This means that the application has been completed. Ideally, we've collected all the required documentation, and now we just need to make a decision. Is this person eligible for benefits or not? When I click into an application, I can see all the different information provided in that application. These tabs correspond to the homeowner portal. If necessary, we can sort of have some one-off cases where an applicant may not have a computer. We also support, say, a counselor entering an application from scratch in this agency portal. And what they would do is basically just fill out all the information here. Moving on down to application team on this particular application. These are the different agency personnel who are assigned to this application. So I've got an intake clerk, I've got an underwriter who will be making the decision. I've got a counselor assigned here. And then we've got entities. These are the different, I guess, ultimately payees that'll be associated with this application. I can add entities if I'm going to be paying someone else. We also support specific contacts for an entity. So let's say that this Mary Ellen person is the collections manager that I need to call about this application. I can have that specifically in this application. So if I am underwriting it and need some information, I know who to go to. List programs. We do support multiple programs for an applicant. If I wanted to run Jiva Macaroni, that's an interesting name. If I wanted to run them through another program, I could do that here. All right, now let's move into the actual decision itself. So let's move into the program qualification screen here. Here I can see income data. I can make my underwriting verification here. I can see if I'm going to qualify applicants based on a reduction in income. I can do that here. Notice I have a 23% reduction in income for this applicant. I can see socially disadvantaged information, property information, qualification information. That hardship statement is right here on this qualification screen. And then finally, we get to the approval information. So this is where I can say yes or no, they are not approved for benefits. I made that decision on a certain date. We'll actually put today's date in here, which is the 8th. We'll start disbursements on the 15th. And these are the different costs or different expenses that this applicant needs help with. So looks like they've got a mortgage with Chase. I can enter, let's say we'll make 3 monthly payments for them. Notice that will be $2,700 because they've specified their monthly payment amount. I'm also going to make a catch-up payment for 3 months worth of payments, and that's going to happen October 1st. And notice that this approved amount is updating as I enter expenses. Down here, it looks like I'm behind on taxes as well, so I can enter catch-up payment for those. Say those are due, what the heck, let's say September 24th. Looks like now the system is going to schedule out $6,450 worth of payments between the mortgage servicer and the county treasurer. I can go ahead and approve them for a certain amount. Save. I need to say why this is approved. Say it's funded in the amount requested. All right, now notice approved by me, and we have recorded that. As I move this application into the disbursement stage, the system will automatically schedule out some disbursements. I've got about 5 minutes here, so I want to jump into CDF records and reporting really quickly. CDF is a fairly convoluted process. I think we finally got some official guidance as to what form the CDF will take. But that said, for an individual applicant, we support queuing up any of the different CDF records that we would need to send out as a part of the sort of underwriting and initial approval phase. So as a part of underwriting, we'll go ahead and send what's called an I record to the servicer. I am going to queue that up here. And basically, as the underwriter, I'm saying I want to send this to the servicer because in response, they're going to send us a V record, which will contain details about this person's mortgage, including how much they owe, how much is past due, when things are due, things like that. So what does it look like to get a CDF record out of the system? So we have a CDF records data view. Notice that I just queued up an I record for this macaroni person. Again, sorry for the goofy name there. But now on this screen, notice I have queued records, and I have an I record for Jiva that is ready to go out here. When we make payments, we send out what's called a B record, which lets servicers know who we are paying for and how much. We queue those up and can send them out as well. We also have a view of all the records that have come back into the system. In our demo environment, we haven't yet imported records. Sorry, that's kind of not a great view, but anything that comes back, a V record, a P record, any of the different records, again, we support all of them, but we have a quick way to view everything that's going out, everything that has gone out, everything that has come back in for the CDF. What else do I want to show in the last minute or two here? Let's jump to reporting. So we have, again, this feature called data views. Each of these items here is a different data set in the system. One of them is CDF records. There's a bit more you can do with this than just reporting. We have checklist items, a way to make sure that operational processes are being followed. We can report on those. Disbursements, expenses, homeowner applications, and I will spend just a minute in the homeowner applications one. So this data set is every single application in the system. I can create quite a few custom views of those applications. So what we are looking at now is all the different applications broken up by county. In the homeowner portal I mentioned, we may want to take a look at applicants who are going through foreclosures. So I have another view of my applications that is filtering for applicants that have a first mortgage and they have received a foreclosure notice. Notice I only have 28 applications that meet those needs. Again, lots of reporting, lots of customizations built into the system. I wish we had more time to spend, but hopefully that's enough of an overview for today. We'd be happy to show you more down the road, but thank you for your time. And Bree, now back to you.
Thank you. And can you guys hear me okay? Yep. Okay. And I'm just sharing back the last slide that we have for today's webinar. Thank you, Joe, for the demo. Thank you guys for attending today. We went through a little bit more thoroughness than we have had the time for on the last few webinars where we've had 20-minute demos. So hopefully that was helpful for you. So if you would like to have more of a private and tailored conversation about your HAF plan and explore how ProLink Plus might be a good fit there, please reach out to me. Again, I'm Bree Kruger, the Executive Vice President, and we'll make sure that my contact information is shared as follow-up to this webinar. And our next event is coming up on October 6th. Where we hope to be joined actually in person by Tennessee to give some kind of similar to what Roe Arrington provided for Arkansas, an update on their pilot program and moving forward and how things are going. Hopefully by then they'll have some great news in actually funding some of their homeowners through that pilot. So please join us back for that, and we will continue to host these events as we have great updates from our existing implementations. We want to share that news, so we will continue to schedule these and share that information with you as it is developed. So thank you for the time, and we look forward to seeing you on October 6th.